everyone, it's Enjoy English School.
Yo!
Today, we're talking day 2 of our story about the female divers of Korea's Jeju Island.
今天我们要跟各位继续介绍海女文化。那我们昨天简单的说明一下，这海女文化当初最开始的时候是怎么样出现的。本来是男生在做这个实业，后来这个女生呢慢慢接管了这项职务。那因为他们这个地方济州岛呢没有什么土地可以直接去耕种，所以他们主要维生的方式都是靠抓海产来维生。
There is a research project, and they are studying the female divers, the Haenyeo of Jeju Island. And they're studying it because they know that people a long time ago, they can't use their phone and they can't use Spotify. They need to make their own music. People like music.OK,
所以像之前的话还有针对海女去做研究，像以前的人们他们没有办法用他们的手机啦，他们也没有 Spotify 可以听音乐啦，他们必须要自己想办法去制造一些去创造音乐。
But if you are swimming or in the ocean, you can't bring instruments. So the female divers of Jeju Island would use the ocean waves as kind of like a drum beat. So instead of playing the drums, they would use the rhythm of the ocean. Up, splash, and they would sing these songs. But many of these songs are dying, and so researchers are trying to encourage these women to sing the songs, write them down so we can have them for history.
哇，原来是这个样子。所以说今天如果你在潜到海里的时候，其实你没有办法带乐器去，所以他们呢这些海女们就会利用海浪的那个节拍的声音，然后就会跟着唱着歌，然后这个唱着歌呢，这些研究员就把这些歌曲慢慢的记录下来，变成海女文化的一部分。不然的话没有传下去，基本上这就失传了。
Let's get ready for paragraph
1.Female divers of Korea's Jeju Island. In ancient times, thousands of women on South Korea's Jeju Island worked as sea divers. Sea diving was one of the best ways to support a family on the island at that time. There were far more female divers than male ones. While the women worked, their husbands often looked after the children and did the shopping. Over the years, however, South Korea has gone through many changes, and the number of haenyeo has decreased. Sea diving used to be one of the only professions available to women on Jeju Island. But now, they have many different choices. As a result, most women choose not to become a sea diver, which is a very difficult and dangerous job. While there are still haenyeo around today, most are elderly. A mother and daughter, Park Suk-hee and Ko Ryo-jin, however, have shown that it's still possible to succeed as a haenyeo. In the morning, the two dive into the ocean to catch sea creatures. In the afternoon and evening, they cook the seafood they caught and serve it to customers. People come from far and wide to taste their freshly caught dishes. Thanks to their diving skills and restaurant, this mother-daughter pair can continue to support themselves through the sea.
All right, we're jumping into paragraph 1 in ancient times. Thousands of women on South Korea's Jeju Island worked as sea divers.
OK, 我们来先看第一段的第一句话，他说 In ancient times, 在古代的时候呢Thousands of 好，这边要特别注意一下，把那个 s 圈起来。Thousand 的后面有一个 s， 如果你提到数千人的时候，你必须要说 thousands of， 你要听到那个 of 的声音就知道哦，有那个 s 在，要记得。如果说你今天讲1000人，就 1000 people， 这边的话这个是不加 s， 但是如果你讲thousands of people， 那这个让 s 一定要加，这是一个很重要的好习惯。所以有数千的这个女性呢 ，on South Korea's Jeju Island worked as sea divers。那在以前古代的时候呢，有差不多数千名的女性是做海女这样子的工作。
And yesterday we used the other phrase instead of worked as 什么工作的名字 we said we verb for a living. So yesterday we talked about they dove into the ocean and collected sea creatures. for a living.
没错，所以像这边 worked as sea diver 是一种说法。那我们昨天的时候还有学到，先加一个动词，然后后面再接 for a living 来表达做这个工作来维生，好，它是我维持生计的一个职业这样的方式。
Our next sentence says sea diving was one of the best ways to support a family on the island at that time.
好，下一句话告诉你了 ，sea diving was one of the best ways。One of the 一定是复数的，所以这个 best ways 的那个 s 跟前面的 one of 可以把它连在一起哦，这是前后一定的搭配。To support a family on the island at that time， 就是在当时呢，其实去做海女这样的工作是养家最好的方式之一。
So we have to support a family. We can also say to take care of a family.And don't forget, when we talk about islands, we have to say on. Circle the on preposition and draw a little arrow. 画一个小小箭头，从 on 到 island, because they are very good friends.
没错，所以在这里的话 on 跟 island 搭配是常常使用的，所以在搭配词上面你把它多做一点这样子的连结，以后在用的时候就用起来更自然咯。
There were far more female divers than male ones.
好，接下来告诉你了 ，There were far more female divers than male ones， 意思就是指女性从事这个工作的比男性的比例要高很多很多。Far more female divers， 用 far 来形容这个多，更加的多。
Don't forget, female is a girl and a male is a boy. Our next sentence says, while the women worked, their husbands often looked after the children and did the shopping.OK，
这跟大家认知上就根本就倒过来了。好，在这边的话呢，他们就是女主外，男主内。While the women worked， 在这个女性在工作的时候，当海女的时候 ，their husbands often looked after their children or the children and did the shopping。意思就是指男性呢就负责照顾小孩，然后负责采买东西，然后等这个女生回来了，哦，你回来了，亲爱的，今天工作好辛苦呢，这样子 ，OK 哈。
Now.Maybe this sounds a little funny, but traditionally we think of the man working and the wife taking care of the family doing the shopping, right? That's like you said, the traditional role there.
Yeah.
And so there is this idea that the men work hard and the women are a little lazy. This is unfair, right? We know this is unfair. Now, if you remember earlier, I told you about the songs the women sang about being on the ocean.So they're writing these songs down.
Yep.
What did they sing about? Well, they sang about their lazy husbands who stay home and don't work hard. Just like men in society say the woman at home is being lazy, etc., etc. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, 没错，很有趣，所以你看哦，所以老师刚刚提到说，刚刚我们不是最开头的时候有提到说，这些海女会唱着他们自己编的歌曲，配着海浪的声音来的编歌，然后研究人记录下来吗？结果他们到底在唱些什么呢 ？Chris 老师就告诉我们了，他唱的其实说，哇，我那个没用的这个丈夫啊，在家里头整天懒懒的，就只有带孩子而已。你不觉得这很有趣吗？平常在我们如果说今天是男性在外工作的时候，就会觉得啊，在家的是很爽。但是事实上，如果一旦角色兑换之后呢，女性在外面工作了，也会误以为说男生在家带孩子很爽。
I think that's so interesting to me. I don't know why that is. It's
文化现象很有趣。
All right, let's get ready for our next paragraph. Hey, welcome back to Enjoy English School. Let's continue with paragraph 2, and let's begin. Over the years, however, South Korea has gone through many changes, and the number of haenyeo has decreased.
好，再来我们看第二段的第一句话咯。他说 over the years， 好，这样经过了这么多年，你只要听到 over the years，over the past few years 的时候，你就知道说从那个时间点到一路到现在以来，你看到后面通常会搭配现在完成式。我们看是不是这个样子哦？他说 ，However, South Korea has gone through many changes。有注意到吗 ？Has gone， 从这个时间点一路以来，已经经过了许许多多的这种变化。And the number of haenyeo has decreased. 好，慢慢的，海女的这个数量呢，也越来越少了。
So let's find out why. Sea diving used to be one of the only professions available to women on Jeju Island, but now they have many different choices.
好，接下来告诉你原因了，对不对？Sea diving used to be， 提到 used to be 的时候呢，就是指以前的状况。可能各位有听过一首歌，叫做 Somebody That I Used to Know。
Was it guilty? How do you
say?
What is that?
锅贴，锅贴 ，yes。
锅贴，
锅贴，锅贴。
爸爸也去锅贴。
爸爸也锅贴，对，锅贴。
How do you sing that song? Okay, you talk. I'm going to think of the song.
Okay, no problem. 然后呢，在这里面你提到 used to be 或是 used to do somebody that I used to know。那这意思就是我现在不认识他了，我不了解了，或者是
Somebody.
Yes. Thank you. 好棒！待会我们再来唱这首歌给大家听。所以这句话呢，它的意思是说啊，这以往过去潜水呢是唯一可以让女性做的职业 ，the only professions available to women on Jeju Island。在济州岛上，女性没有别的选择，只能选择这项职业来做。But now 到现在呢 ，they have many different choices。好，他现在有很多的职业选择了，我干嘛还去做那么辛苦的海女的工作呢？所以他们现在海女数量会减少。
So this job is a tough job. It's a dangerous job, we'll see. And there's we talked yesterday, a lot of women are ashamed to do this job. It's considered not a very high class job. And there are other things to do on Jeju Island. There are museums and a lot of people come to eat the traditional foods there.
Yes.
There's a lot of different jobs and you don't have to do the hard work anymore.
没错，所以有好多的职业可以选的时候，到后来很多海女想说啊，我既然有别的选择了，那我就不要做这么辛苦的工作了。
Somebody that I used to
I gotta. That's very good. Thank you.
Let's continue. As a result, most women choose not to become a sea diver, which is a very difficult and dangerous job.
Yeah, 所以告诉你 as a result 这个地方 as a result 就是 therefore yes 因此呢怎么样 Most women choose not to become a sea diver 很多女性就选择我不要当海女然后这边逗号 which 这边 which 指的就是当海女这件事情 which is a very difficult and dangerous job 来去说明说这项工作又辛苦而且又危险，对，有可是在下面的时候可能有碰到很多海蛇啦，咬你一口，你可能就丢了性命等等，很多危险情况，那干脆选择别的职业来做。
Yeah, I think I recall the researchers studying the songs, and they said that I think it's like over 85%, 90% of Hanyo today are over the age of 60.
没错，所以说差不多超过80%甚至到90%以上都是60岁以上的女性，好，就是海女的这个平均年龄在不断的往上升，因为年轻的女性没有人要去当海女，太辛苦了。
This is something the women did out of necessity. You don't do it because you want to. You do it because you have to.
Do something out of necessity 就是不得已的选项。以前的时候没有别的工作可以做，只有靠这个东西才能养家活口，你只好去做。可是现在有其他选项了，你就不会那么做了。
All right, let's get ready for our final paragraph. All right, everyone, it is time for our final paragraph today. While there are still Hanyo around today, most are elderly.
好，最后一段呢，我们告诉你了。他说 ，while 提到 while 这个字，通常在比较两件事情，你要先有这样子的一个感觉，好，你要预测到后面的事情。While there's still Hanyo around today， 今时今日，虽然我们还是看得到海女，但是怎么样 ？Most are elderly， 就像老师刚刚所提到的，很多80%、90%的海女呢，都是在60岁以上的女性。可是年轻的女性，没有人想要当海女。
That's right. Now the word elderly is super useful. Why? Because the word old is a little bit rude. So you don't want to talk about like, this person is old. If you say elderly, 一样的意思, but this is much more polite. This is a very good word to know.
没错，所以说你今天如果再比较一下嘛，如果你觉得这位长辈跟这个老头听起来的话就差很多嘛，对不对 ？Elderly 给人家一种比较礼貌的感觉，如果光讲 old 的话，可能说有些人听起来很不舒服，会冒犯人家。
Archie, there's a very big difference between a 60-year-old person and a 90-year-old person. So that elderly person would be 60. But an old person, like if 你有
Yeah.
60岁 90岁的那一位有差别，你要形容，对不对？ The 60-year-old is elderly, the 90-year-old is old.
Yeah， 所以这边它有程度上的差别哦。
All right, let's continue. Our next sentence says, a mother and daughter,
Park Soo-hee and Ko Ryo-jin
however, have shown that it's still possible to succeed as a hanyo.
OK， 所以接下来我们看下面这句话，他说 A mother and daughter 就是一对母女档呢 Park Soo-hee and Ko Ryo-jin， 我有找到后面的 Ko Ryo-jin 这位女士的这个好像是 IG 吧哈，她的话其实还算相对年轻，30几岁。他说 However have shown that it is still possible to succeed as a haenyeo。 好，在这边他就告诉你说，即便是当海女也可以出人头地，或是也有出头天。这个 succeed 就是成功的意思。
Look at the word succeed. The first C is K, the second C is S. Write it down.
没错，这两个 C 的话发音并不一样哦。第一个 C 的话是发 K 的声音，它只有少少的一个 succeed， 那个 不用咳出来，但是要停顿一下 succeed， 它要做出那个咳的那个位置，但是不要把它念出来。
In the morning, the two dive into the ocean to catch sea creatures.
好了，所以在早上的时候 in the morning, maybe in the early morning, right? The two dive into the ocean. 好，他们两个呢，母女档就潜入海里头 to catch sea creatures， 就开始抓海里的生物。
T is, look at the word creatures, and we can see that T has a CH sound. Please write it down.
没错 creature 这个地方的 T-U-R-E 的 T， 它是发 ch 的声音，像 CH 的声音一样。creature 这要特别小心 sea creatures。
In the afternoon and evening, they cook the seafood they caught and serve it to customers.
好啦，所以白天的时候，尤其早上的时候去抓这些海中的生物嘛。In the afternoon and evening， 到了下午跟晚上的时候呢 ，they cook the seafood they caught， 他们今天抓到什么渔获呢？然后就把它做了菜 ，and serve it to customers， 然后给这个顾客们好抓，就是让他们吃今天抓到的渔获。
I like that Anthony sometimes says words, like words that have two pronunciations. I say it one way, and Anthony naturally says it another. Like I just said the word evening, 2 syllables, evening. But you just said
evening.
Evening with 3 syllables.
Yes.
And that's totally okay.
Yeah.
In fact, I'd say probably more people probably say evening than say evening. That's just my opinion. But both are totally fine. So pick which one you like to say more, or just study your favorite teacher. He's smarter than I am. So you can say evening or evening.
Yeah.
Okay. Our next sentence says, people come from far and wide to taste their freshly caught dishes.
好，接下来告诉你这句话，他说 People come from far and wide. Far and wide, that means everywhere. 然后到处来自四面八方，远道而来的感觉，对不对？很多人 people from far and wide to come from far and wide to taste their freshly caught dishes， 就是远道而来去尝尝看，好，他们刚抓的、现捞现捕的这些野生的这种海产 ，freshly caught。好，很多时候你会听到 freshly 搭配个 VPP， 比方说像是 freshly squeezed。Juice 就是现榨的果汁这种感觉，那 freshly caught 的话，意思当然就是指他们现抓的这些菜、这些海产。
You will, however, also hear lots of foreigners use this wrong. Lots of foreigners, especially Americans, like to speak very casually. 就是比较随便一点 and they like to use poor grammar and poor spelling. They like it. So if you know Subway, Taiwanese often say Subway, right? You might know their restaurant says eat fresh. They don't say like eat freshly cut vegetables. They're going to say eat fresh, like fresh is a noun or something, right? This is something foreigners do. You should always be looking for this and be careful not to study it in your written English. But for everyday speaking English, if you hear someone on YouTube say it, it's probably at least okay for everyday talking.
Yeah, 没错，老师刚刚讲那个 Subway Eat Fresh， 它有一个那个
is there a
jingle.
song? I didn't
Yeah,
know
there's a
the
song. There's a jingle or
I
something.
just used
Yeah.
to eat it.
Yeah, they say
I used to work at somewhere.
没错，Eat Fresh 他们是常常这样讲，但是这是口语上，不要把它当作是正式的语言来看。那在这边的话 ，freshly caught 是合乎文法的正确用法，我们记合乎文法的用法哦。
Yeah. And another thing that we're kind of talking about here too, when people come from far and wide, most of their visitors, of their tourists, are from Korea. So because we have COVID, people can't really travel. And so a lot of these people are having a really hard time.
没错，是因为疫情的关系呢，所以事实上，他们来自四面八方的这些游客也好，观光客也好，他也受到了非常非常大的冲击哦。
All right, let's continue on. Thanks to their diving skills and restaurant, this mother-daughter pair can continue to support themselves through the sea.
好，最后他告诉你了 ，Thanks to their diving skills and restaurant。Thanks to 就是因为有着，多亏了有他们的这种潜水的技术，而且他们还开了餐厅。The mother-daughter pair 这一对母女档呢 ，can continue to support themselves through the sea。他们可以继续着靠着以海为生的方式来过活。
So the word pair is a great word. It means two. It means both. It means two different things. Underline pair and write the number 2 there. And listen to how I say this. When we have an A-B pair, we often say it a special way. Mother-daughter pair. Okay? Maybe a brother-sister pair. Something like that.
没错，噔噔噔噔噔 ，OK， mother-daughter pair 那种感觉 ，pair 的话是把它框起来那种感觉。
Yeah, yeah. I have nothing more to say about that. Yeah, there you go. Okay, let's go ahead and get ready for our vocabulary review. All right, friends, it's time for vocab review. Our first word today is a verb, to support something or to support somebody.
Yeah, support 就是支持、支撑的意思，所以在这边的话，我们提到 support a family 就是养家活口。
Our next word today is a verb phrase, to look after somebody.
To look after somebody 就是去照顾某人 ，look after the children 就是去照顾小朋友这样子。
Take care of somebody.
That's right.
Next, we have to go through many changes.
To go through many changes 就是有历经了许多的转变，好，可能慢慢有变化的感觉。Go through 就是经过了，历经了许多的变化。
This sentence that we have to go through in is the present perfect tense. So in our magazine, it says has gone through. Our next word is available.
Available 意思就是指可以得到的，通常提到说什么 available something is available to 什么人，就是这个人他可以得到这样的东西。
Next we have as a result.
As a result 就是因此，然后呢在这边的话，你可以用 so 或是用 therefore 来取代。
Next we have to succeed.
Succeed 这个字就是成功，它是动词，要小心它的发音。Succeed 前面 C 是 K， 后面 C 是 S。
Next we have far and wide.
Far and wide means everywhere， 到处。
From far and wide.
From far and wide, from everywhere.
And lastly we have to continue.
To continue 能够继续去做什么事情。
And speaking of to continue, we're done for today, but we will be back later, and we hope to see you there because you will continue to check out Enjoy English School. I'm Chris Gorski.
I'm Anthony.
We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.